Hello and welcome back to a brand new video. I'm Shoot243 and let's watch the new death battle. As is Magneto versus Tetsuo. Marvel versus Akira. Akira? Yeah, Akira. I want to say Akira. If I say wrong, I will see afterwards. Anyway, yeah, I do know Magneto. I don't. Okay, I know of Magneto's existence. I know he has been connected to Wanda, you know, in some storylines he's even her father, for as I remember. Yeah, I think he has a lot of magic on his hand, but I don't really know him that much. I mean, as I said, I know about his existence and that sort of thing, but I don't really know much more for what I've said now, I think. And then Tetsuo, I have absolutely no idea who that is. So, I can't predict anything, or try to predict anything, when it comes to these two characters. Or at least this character. When it comes to Akira, definitely. But, yeah, I guess we just gotta go into the analysis. Let's find out who is the winner. First, the analysis. And, let's play!
This episode of Death Battle is sponsored by HelloFresh and Bespoke Post.
Alright. Let's see who they are.
Magneto, Marvel's mutant master.
Yeah, he's a mutant. I knew that. I just didn't remember to say it. But then again, Wanda is also supposed to be a mutant, as far as I remember it, so. She is not in the MCU though, as far as I know.
He's Wiz and I'm Boomstick, and it's our job to analyze their weapons, armor, and
oh, is she?
to find out who would win.
No, maybe not actually, because he still saying no more mutants and that sort of thing. Anyway, this is not about Wanda, this is Magneto.
Civilization. Likely no conflict tested humanity more than the Second World War. In the primary Marvel 616 universe, this fact is no different, especially to the Eisenhart family and their only son.
You may know him as Magnus, Eric, or Max, but if you ask him, he'd say his true name is Magneto.
As a Jewish child in Nazi Germany, Magneto's early life was, well, extremely traumatic.
Even after eventually escaping certain death with his future wife, misfortune always followed wherever he went.
Thanks to his unexpected mutation called the X gene, the mark of a superhuman.
Yeah, the X gene is, feel free to correct me about this if I'm wrong, but I feel like that's more like a thing that's exclusive to the the mutants. I mean, if you are a mutant in the Marvel universe, you have the X gene. I think that's how it is. Feel free to correct me about that if I'm wrong.
He'd do the same to them in the name of mutants everywhere.
At first, Magneto turned to the telepathic powerhouse Charles Xavier and his fledgling team of heroes. But his new friend wasn't thrilled with the idea of, subjugating the human race. So, Magneto formed his own team of mutants, the Brotherhood.
Magneto can telekinetically move, bend, and reshape any metal he's aware of. Bullets, vehicles, buildings, you name it. Even himself when he manipulates his personal magnetic field for flight and energy barriers.
Magnetokinesis is far more versatile than it would appear at first glance. The blood in your body has iron in it. The air has traces of lead and mercury. Whole mountains are lined with metallic ore. The Earth itself is surrounded by a literal magnetic field.
And Magneto can feel that feel,
he can
I assume?
magnetic fields at such a huge range, he can even pinpoint Earth's magnetic range.
Yeah, I guess basically confirming that here. Mind that really.
And guess what? He was able to use those rays to pull himself back to Earth in a single day.
His range is even more remarkable than that. Did you know that in 1820, physicist Hans Christian Ørsted discovered that electric currents, like those of electrons and protons and atoms, produce their own magnetic fields? Magneto can fine-tune his control to affect these very subatomic particles. Dummy here will illustrate such a particle, with positively charged protons and negative electrons.
My life is as meaningless as an atom is small.
Oh,
what you're saying is Magneto could like
the poor robot.
out.
Correct, potentially changing an atom's entire chemical makeup. However, neutrons do not have a charge, and without the ability to adjust those to accommodate the change in atomic mass, the atom would become unstable and...
Finally!
It's blowing. Yeah, it blew up.
Do that. Magneto's violent protest against humankind clashed with Xavier's peaceful
You think you have a lot of those
reconciliation.
robots laying around,
Ideologies taught by
as far as I can
Malcolm X
tell.
and Dr. King, by whom
Unless he
Stanley
make a
and
new
Jack Kirby
one
were inspired. Magneto
every
would spend
time
most his
one of
career
them blows
pushing
up.
Xavier away to prove his philosophy superior, which meant doing battle with Xavier's school of thought, quite literally.
And Baldy's mind powers are no joke, but thanks to Magneto's psionic repelling helmet, Professor X couldn't touch him. Magneto survived Cyclops' earth-splitting lasers, absorbed the power of the sun to battle Iron Man, ripped the adamantium skeleton out of Wolverine's body, and even taken on Hercules himself. You know, the Greek legend, Zero to Hero? The guy who held up the skies of Olympus for Atlas? That Hercules.
Seems sensible. Magneto once used the Earth's magnetic field to overwhelm the Phoenix Force, which can effortlessly destroy planets, let alone far more.
Hell, if he really wanted to, Magneto could totally just fling the Earth off its axis.
It's entirely possible he may have eventually resorted to just that. Over time, it became clear Magneto's war was doing far more harm than good for his fellow mutants, however well-intentioned he may have been at first.
Luckily, he later realized he was going a bit overboard and began reevaluating his perspective. Good for you, Mags. It's really tough to recognize when you're the baddie.
It took time and patience not just from Magneto, but also from his peers. Yet eventually, his path was completely changed. He even became a leader for Xavier's X-Men.
But don't let his new goody two-shoes ways fool you. Whenever there's a threat to mutants, you can bet Magneto will be there to annihilate it. Forever, by any means necessary.
Yeah. Not a whole lot of information to go on here, I feel like.
With HelloFresh, you get farm fresh.
I guess I'm gonna start doing that then. Having the ad break in between the analysis. I still feel like it should be before the analysis, so we get the two characters properly side by side. But
now has 30 dinner recipes to choose from every single week. That's the most choices of
that's just me.
Foolproof step-by-step recipes mean a joyful cooking experience and a stress.
Considering you have another ad break in the end of the video, you know, right before the battle, it makes sense that this one to be before the analysis, then you have the two characters, and then we have the second one. It just makes more sense to me. And feel more right to me, basically. But, hey, it's an ad break nonetheless.
Go to HelloFresh.com/DeathBattle16 and use code DeathBattle16 for up to 16 free meals and 3 free.
But Magneto had a lot of some interesting feats himself, though. There's not a whole lot of numbers to go on him, but then again, there's also, yeah, Tetsuo.
Over 30 years ago,
so let's see what he can do.
Set off over Tokyo, and 9 hours later began the Third World War.
Welcome to 2030, or 2019 if you're watching the anime. The buildings are taller, the motorcycles are cooler, and the future is brighter. Oh, wait, not really. If you find yourself in the Capsule Gang, you'll meet Shotaro Kaneda, who's like your textbook anime Chad. Gets the ladies, beats the baddies, and cops the sweetest rigs. Man, I need to get me one of those.
And then there's the little brother of the group, Kaneda's best friend, Tetsuo Shima. He's, well,
the exact opposite. A total wimp. As a kid, Tetsuo in his college thesis forehead got bullied for being the new kid at the orphanage. That's until Big Bro Kaneda came to the rescue.
Eventually, the two went to vocational school together and formed the Capsules. But Tetsuo was never satisfied with Kaneda being the leader of the pack. Tetsuo desired more than anything to be top dog.
Oh, I can just see curling in my mind.
He doesn't like, from what I gained from that, he doesn't like to be not on top.
That definitely should have killed him.
Yeah, definitely.
But since it didn't, Tetsuo earned himself a ticket to military confinement. Turns out they had an under-the-table program for developing child superweapons.
In the same program that backfired and jump-started the war, Tetsuo became Japan's Esper number 41.
He may not have been a natural with bikes, baddies, or babes, but this telekinesis stuff hit different. He walked out of that hospital ward effortlessly flying, reading minds, and blending people into strawberry jelly. Tetsuo got what he wanted. Power, along with the hunger for more of it.
A hunger that used to only be satiated with drugs. And not just any gateway drug, pills so potent that a single gram of the stuff could kill you.
So,
dang, I guess you gotta be very careful when taking those pills, though.
Tetsuo's main ability is his constantly increasing psionic energy, growing more
or just
and more
not take them at all.
time. This is due to Tetsuo's link to, quote, the memories of the universe, end quote. It's weird.
Either way, Tetsuo leveled up from lame gangbuster to certified badass. This guy is a walking natural disaster. His telekinesis can shake the planet, easily cause earthquakes over a dozen miles below the surface. He can summon psychic barriers for defense and crush foes with freaking
Well, that would
gravity.
definitely
He can dart around
protect him for
life
lasers and that sort of
or even
thing.
teleport in an instant.
Tetsuo's telekinesis can be so precise he can target and obliterate specific parts
Theoretically
of the body.
speaking.
He can heal severe wounds quickly, but even after losing a whole limb, he can craft a new one using whatever nearby materials he wants.
With
So
these
basically, you
powers,
can lose an
Upper
arm.
Canada didn't matter anymore. Who needs
And
a
if there's a lot of,
tasted that good
you
shit
know,
and he was hooked. And when he
robot
found
parts
out another
nearby,
expert
you can have a
named
robot
Akira
arm,
could deal him
basically.
even
That's what
more
I'm getting
power,
from this.
He rampaged through Tokyo to find him.
And this is where versions of the story differ.
Spoilers ahoy!
You may be familiar with the 1988 animation, where Akira had been dissected for research. However, in the original manga, Akira is not only alive, but even more powerful.
Once that little runt nuked Tokyo, Tetsuo would erect the Great Tokyo Empire with Akira and himself as its leaders. But he ended up just abusing the position for endless sex and inflating his ego.
With Kanada's rebellion at his front door, Tetsuo took a turn for the worse. He had to fight.
Tetsuo's defeated other powerful espers, dodged light-speed lasers, and jumped to the moon faster than anyone could blink, and then punched a big old hole in it. And if you ask, Boomstick, wouldn't that mess up gravity on Earth? You would be right, because it totally did. Screwed the planet, I guess. Stupid moon.
Which brings us to Tetsuo's folly. His abuse of his powers spiraled until he lost control. Unfortunately for Kanada's rebellion, this did not make Tetsuo an easier enemy to confront. Exactly opposite, in fact, has Tetsuo
What's going on with your arm there, mister?
into an unstoppable behemoth.
Yep.
Oh, it was... Okay, it was not just his arm, apparently.
I'm happy to say the manga's version is even more disturbing.
I mean, I know babies can be monsters, but that's a whole nother level.
It is pain incarnate. I can relate. Another Esper described Tetsuo's struggle as ego death, which has multiple definitions, but in this case is likely symbolic of the version attributed to drug use.
Yeah, it's described as a shedding of one's own identity, like how LSD can emulate a wild out-of-body experience, and you come back with a new perspective. Though this is maybe a little more extreme. In fact, you could say Tetsuo was shedding his human body to play with the powers of a god.
I wish I could shed out of my body. But in this case, Tetsuo going full out of body meant becoming a mound of raw, ever-expanding energy.
Which almost nuked Tokyo all over again. And those explosions are not normal. I would know.
Top scientists in both the manga and animated versions describe these explosions as births of a new universe.
Given its properties of nuclear
Alright,
fission
so
and
him,
proton collapse, Tetsuo's mutated form was likely creating a big bang.
You know, the thing that started our whole universe?
Right. In the manga, it instead ended the Espers and their abilities once and for all. A testament that humankind is unsuited to wield the powers of the divine.
Though the anime's even more trippy. Thanks to Akira and his buddies, Tetsuo got so high on ego death, he ascended time-space to become god of a new universe. Kinda worth it, right?
And yet, Kanada kept his empire up in his honor, now as the Great Akira Empire. Ironically, in death, Tetsuo finally received the attention he so desperately craved.
This episode of Death Battle-
Alright,
Take your summer adventures to the next level with Bespoke Post and their new seasonal lineup of must.
alright,
Bespoke Post
I didn't be thinking about this one.
emerging brands to bring you the most unique goods
I'm gonna let the ad play
The carnivore
and
ranch has
get back to you
something
afterwards, but
American barbecue rub, perfect for a true carnivore like myself.
yeah,
No
I
matter
just
what
need to
you
think
have
about it.
going on this season, Box of Awesome has you covered. From camping gear essentials to beach day and travel must-haves, Box of Awesome has everything you need for summer.
To get started, take the quiz at boxofawesome.com. Your answer will pick the right Box of Awesome for you. Each box is valued at around $70, but you only pay a fraction of that price.
Plus, with each Box of Awesome, you're supporting small businesses. 90% of everything that comes in your Box of Awesome is from a small up-and-coming brand.
It's free to sign up, and you can skip a month or cancel anytime.
Get 20% off your first monthly box when you sign up at boxofawesome.com and enter the code DEATHBATTLE at checkout.
That's boxofawesome.com, code DEATHBATTLE for 20% off your first box. Boxofawesome.com, code DEATHBATTLE.
You know what? I am actually leaning toward Tetsuo here. More than I'm leaning towards Magneto. I really can see this go either way. But I feel like they gave a lot more information about Tetsuo and his limits or whatever in comparison to Magneto. I mean, Magneto had the whole thing with the sun. I think he survived being somewhere in the sun to defeat an Iron Man variant or something. And then there was, yeah, the whole thing about a laser. He managed to go up against Marvel's Hercules, who apparently could, what did they say, lift the sky or whatever, which is supposed to be impossible, but I think that's what it said. I might misremember that, but yeah, Magneto definitely has a lot of powers in its arsenal. However, they didn't mention a whole lot of numbers in terms of his speed or how far his power goes. At least not far as I heard. Maybe they did and I missed it because I was talking. That's perfectly possible. But yeah, I mean, Magneto is an alright character. It seems like he seems to be very powerful. I mean, he managed to defeat Hercules, so and he's definitely gone head to head with Wanda in so many cases too. I am sure about that. I don't know this for certain, but in some cases he is supposed to be her father. That may not be the case in every story. I might also, you know, mistake him for someone else. But in that regard, but just going off my own memory here, from what I heard from all the videos and that sort of thing. Then was Tetsuo, who well, he had the whole thing with the whole light stuff that gradually expanded. Basically, yeah, as I described it, basically the Big Bang. Yeah, he also could. Did he say something about out-of-body experience? This guy too. And then there was the whole thing about even though he loses an arm, he's perfectly fine. He can still move on. Just use nearby environment stuff in the nearby to get a new arm, basically, which is also kind of crazy. He also had the whole. Yeah, he also had the whole shield thingy, which definitely go to work very well against him. That sort of thing. I guess, yeah, and I guess he did something to mess up Earth's gravity, from how I remember it. Magneto could also do something similar, where I think he flipped the Earth upside down. I think it was, if I remember correctly, which is basically the exact same thing. But, well, not really, is it? I mean, yeah, gravity is going to be a pain for you if you flip Earth upside down, but if you... Yeah, I am leaning towards Tetsuo. He just seems like the character that's going to win this one. It's totally possible I am wrong about this one, because seeing how much they hyped him up, and based on everything I can remember from the characters here, I make the whole mistake where I rarely read the sidebar, and especially not the information that comes up in the upper corner. I tend to not do that. So, because, you know, I try to listen to what they're actually saying and stuff, and I might miss a few important details if I try to read what's stated up there, which it's necessary, that's fine, but yeah, Tetsuo is going to win, and I think, yeah, there definitely wasn't a whole lot to go on, it seemed like, when it came to Magneto. I mean, he sure has a lot of information out there, but it seems like the information they gave on Magneto was kind of limited. But anyway, yeah, Tetsuo is going to win, and let's see if I'm right or wrong. Yeah, I want to say I'm about 76% sure Tetsuo is going to win. So, let's see if I'm right. So, let's get this over with and see the result.
Alright, the combatants are set. We've run the data through all possibilities.
It's time,
Time for a death battle! The door closes. They open again like an elevator.
Even in Japan,
And it's a 2D battle.
to recognize our superiority.
Wrong country, Grandpa! You're an Akira turf now!
What's happened to the world? And why are you fighting? Why are you fighting? I think maybe they said why, but I missed it. If that's the case.
Impudent child!
The hell are you calling child? I make the rules around here!
Yeah, use the object against him.
You're wasting my time.
Come on, Tetsuo, show me that I'm right. Kick Magneto's butt! Oh, you lost an arm.
Parlor tricks for the master of magnetism.
But doesn't it mean his arm changes abilities depending on what he chooses to use as his arm? I want to say that's the case, but maybe not.
Your history, scumbag!
But when you have a metallic arm, your hit should be going harder, right? I mean, you're metallic, and getting hit by metal gonna be a lot more painful than being hit by hand. Oh, you're messing up the earth. Are you messing up the gravity? Oh. Yeah, kill him. Wait, no. Come on, that's you in the big monster thingy. Of course it's gonna come into play. And remember, I just didn't mention anything about it, but the animation style changed too.
Listen, welcome, I'll handle this on my own. Not die! Hurts. Help me.
Oh wow! Oh, I thought it was gonna use the blood as a lot of spears and send them over to him, basically cutting him. I thought that was what was gonna happen.
Poor child.
You need to go and grow a new arm again.
Thank you.
You are welcome.
I was wrong. Why was I wrong?
Tetsuo! Oh, God. I'm never doing that again.
Tetsuo's esoteric telekinesis and other bizarre abilities certainly gave Magneto pause, but the Master of Magnetism had greater control over his foe.
The numbers don't lie. Tetsuo cratering the moon was insane, but Magneto punched Iron Man with the force of the sun. And while Tetsuo jumped all the way to the moon, Magneto could move across galaxies.
Against Tetsuo in his human form, Magneto obviously held a sizable advantage in power and speed.
But stats aren't all that matters. With his precise telekinesis, Tetsuo could just target Magneto's organs. GG, right?
Yes, but Magneto had similar skills. There are very few substances on Earth that lack any metallic or magnetic component, and Magneto is very creative with his powers.
Which he could use to predict Tetsuo's teleportation and even shut down his telekinesis. And his scraps with Xavier prove he could handle Tetsuo's messing with his head. The biggest challenge for Magneto was when Tetsuo's gross mutated power came into play.
Especially given how the detonations from this form were compared to that of a Big Bang. Although
Yeah, that's basically
observation is
what made me think about Tetsuo winning.
Bang was a sudden expansion of matter on a universal scale.
Because it's a
whereas
big
Tetsuo's
explosion,
explosions are
basically.
more akin to nuclear blasts, clearly intentional given the post-war symbolism of the Akira story.
The whole creating an alternate universe bit wasn't even part of the original material, so we can't exactly call it canon.
But let's just say the comparison wasn't superfluous. Let's say Tetsuo did in fact cause a Big Bang capable of creating or destroying an entire universe, alternate or otherwise.
Turns out Magneto had the tools to stop that too. Helmet Head could overpower Hercules, who was strong enough to hold up the skies of Olympus, which is literally heaven and an alternate universe.
This doesn't necessarily mean Magneto could easily destroy a universe with a snap of his fingers, but it does prove he can match a similar level of power. And context is everything. Tetsuo's Big Bang eruption specifically exhibited proton collapse, meaning its atomic structure was primarily an unstable mess of neutrons and electrons. And Magneto has detected and commanded unstable electrons before. This means Magneto had every means available to take control over this Big Bang.
Damn, and I thought he could just move some metal around. It's like the question posed by some of the greatest prophets of our time. Fucking magnets. How do they even work?
Magneto's astonishing power and intelligent control over all things magnetism triumphed in the end.
Tetsuo pushed his luck, but didn't have the metal to pull off the win.
The winner is Magneto.
Well, congratulations, Magneto.
Thank you for watching.
Somebody
this
didn't
episode.
clap.
If you'd like to directly support the whole Death Battle team, click that join button and consider becoming a member. We'd really appreciate it. Hope you like the next one.
I hope so too. Who is next though? Hercules. Alright, so that was the Death Ball. Okay, I'm gonna start with the next one. Hercules versus Son Wukong. I have no idea who Son Wukong is. Definitely an anime. I assume this is Marvel's Hercules. It doesn't exactly specify that. Which means we kind of already knew a little bit about him because he already showed up in this episode. Showed up, he was mentioned, but yeah. Yeah, I assume it's the Marvel's version of Hercules. There's definitely other versions of Hercules out there. I am definitely sure it's not Disney's Hercules. But that is also a possibility. But of course there are other Herculeses out there, most likely, and it could be any of them. So my guess is Marvel. Which means we have two Marvels in a row. This step up was fine. I actually did enjoy the analysis. And you might have misled us a little bit there when it came to when you mentioned Tetsuo and the whole Big Bang stuff. Because I think, unless I misremember this, but I'm positive this said it was like a Big Bang, or, you know, not that it was being referred to as a Big Bang, or whatever they call it. So, a bit of misinformation, unless I just misheard it. Of course, I should probably have chosen Magneto and I come to think about it. Because when they mentioned the fact that they mentioned the three Hercules was holding up Olympus Sky, which is basically every sky, I didn't think that was true, probably. Because I assumed it was just the sky around Olympus. But it turns out it can actually be not just that, but it can be the sky all over the universe. And yeah, as I said, all the universes do, which is a lot of power to hold up. Of course, you will think you aren't really capable of actually holding the sky in your palm of your hand, but apparently Hercules can do that. I don't know if I completely agree with this one. I can totally see Magneto being the winner here, simply because of that feature. And of course, he's apparently also had a way to counter the whole Big Bang, thing from Mutant Tetsuo. So yeah, I don't remember saying that in the analysis that he had something that can counter a Big Bang. I understand why I didn't say that in analysis. Anyway, but I feel like that should be mentioned too, you know, around the time, you know, there's real Hercules stuff. Simply because, yeah, does it make it too predictable? Yeah, maybe. Definitely, maybe it will. But, it's important information for our prediction. Either way, I'm not salty about that at all. I just thought this was information that should have been analysis. But, yeah, I definitely, there was a lot of stuff on both of them. They both had some really interesting stuff, I guess you could say. So yeah, I did enjoy the analysis. And because the battle, I actually really enjoyed this one. It's not half bad to be a 2D, or a pixel 2D, basically, animation. And I actually enjoyed this. I enjoyed this one. I am gonna be very careful saying it's my favorite 2D one, and it's been not my favorite overall, simply because I prefer the 3D ones, and I really like many of the 3D ones that I had, like the Mario vs. Sonic one, you know, the most recent Mario vs. Sonic. And I also really like the one with the, you know, Cloud and Link, the remake for that. So yeah, I really enjoyed a lot of those episodes too. I mean, I do prefer the 3D ones. And this one is a 2D one. It's probably not that far away though from being one of the top of my favorite 2Ds. It might be behind... oh, I don't know. It's so many episodes. I don't think I can actually choose. But I do really like the whole... this one with no, the Mario Sonic. Yeah, sure, there was a 2D hand-drawn art. The Mario Sonic one I'm thinking about. I was thinking full-on 3D. Anyway, whatever. So yeah, I did enjoy the episode. It was a great episode. Yeah, I just really fine. I don't really have anything else to say about this one, I think. And we had the next one too, which again, I think it's Hercules from the Marvel universe. I'm definitely positive it's not the Disney Hercules. But I guess we'll gotta wait and see. It just would be nice to specify which version of Hercules this is, but considering they mentioned Hercules in this, that well, you know, they're in Marvel, in the Marvel Hercules in this step, I assume it's him. So, but I don't know who Sun Wukong is, so there's that. But just because of what the information was given to us right now about Hercules, I feel like Hercules is the obvious victorious person of those two. But anyway, I think that was for that. I hope you guys enjoy the reaction. Link to the original video is down below as always. A notification should have popped up somewhere in the beginning of the video telling you to watch the original first. I hope you did that. And I think that's it. Yeah. Anyway, I'm looking forward to the next one. I think it's gonna. I'm feeling it's going to be a good one. I actually really enjoy this one. So, June 20th. It's not that far away. Of course, I'm gonna just say that I really enjoyed this episode, and I'm gonna end it here. And I'm gonna go edit this bad boy, and I'm gonna go upload it, and I'm gonna go publish it in a couple of days. Yeah, something like that. Thank you guys so much. Min23 signing out.